Who should play a Necromancer in Diablo 4? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Gyro and I am back again with a very short video that is telling my casual players who don't know much about Diablo, who are not hardcore players, about different classes in the game. This was recorded during the open beta weekend and early access weekend, 2 weekends in a row. I was reviewing very quickly, very early impressions on different classes. Should you play them and who these classes are for? So today we're looking at Necromancer. Short version TLDR, too long didn't read. I think that if you want the easiest gameplay, the easiest to get into and the most passive, so to speak, gameplay in Diablo 4 with the least amount of worries, the most amount of excitement, if that is what rocks your boat, if you don't need to be right in the middle of the tussle to enjoy the game, Necromancer is for you. Absolutely. It is by far the easiest class to play, the easiest class to get into, probably, as a lot of experts will correct me, maybe rightly so in the comments down below, maybe the hardest to master, maybe is the keyword here. But we are not experts here, we are casuals who want to have fun in the game, aren't we? So, Necromancer, what's good about it? Well, as always, you have a lot of different specializations which are based on the skills, on the key skills that you are using. Straight up, you could specialize in the bone splinters, which is kind of a far-ranged shot. You could do hemorrhage, which I haven't tested properly. You could do decompose to tear the flesh from the enemy, dealing some nasty damage to them. Or you could do more of a melee build, which is reap, where you swing an ethereal sigh in front of you and do damage. I went with bread and butter, very simple bone splinters. All of these very first skills that you choose, they are builders of your then spending resource, whatever that resource is. Well, for Necromancer, this resource is essence. And these skills are usually, well, they're fillers, really. They don't hit hard, but they allow you to mark enemies, making them vulnerable in some cases and other kind of stuff. You need to spend 2 points on this skill before you can take anything a bit more meaty. That becomes then your kind of more or less bread and butter, at least for a while, damaging skill. And that goes for every class, and Necromancer is not a particular exception. So I'm here not investing much into bone splinters. I took enhanced bone splinters because they have a relatively high chance to fire 2 additional projectiles, and we want extra projectiles. Now, this is where things get interesting. So Necromancer can then further specialize and continue going with, say, bone skills. Bone Spear is a staple ability from Diablo 2, and for Necromancers it's quite a fun bone spike that pierces enemies, and you can, as long as you can line up the enemies coming to you in a horde, kind of down a corridor in a dungeon or just in the open world, it is a very satisfying kind of shot that then can split as well, break into little shards and other kind of stuff. I haven't tried every single build because I don't have to. It was pretty clear to me how Necromancer feels. I went for now with a fully maximized Blight, which is not the most smooth to play, I suppose, skill, but it definitely does a lot of damage. If you play World of Warcraft and you imagine being a Death Knight, let's say, Blight is kind of pumped up to the maximum amount of damage, death and decay. It's kind of like a death and decay puddle that you want to throw onto your enemies and let them just damage over time, die in that. Another awesome, so when we get to the third kind of node here of skills, are defensives. They're generally defensives, and you can either go a bit more aggressive and go for Corpse Explosion, which is another very staple ability of Diablo 3 and Diablo 2, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a lot of fun, it adds a lot of damage, and I played with Corpse Explosion. It is a lot of fun. Problem is you lose on defensive capability. You could go with Bone Prison just to CC basically the enemies, but I don't think many of us would want to play that way. Blood Mist is an absolute winner here, at least for me personally. It makes you invulnerable. It makes you invulnerable. It makes you. It allows you to escape any form of containment. If you are, you know, trapped, if anything happens to you, you can easily, you know, escape, become invulnerable when things go dusty for you, and you can also regenerate a tiny bit of your health, which is negligible, but it's still pretty good. And then further on, you can, you know, you can go into your curses. You can then proceed further where I haven't been just yet. Yeah, so these are more advanced kind of skills. Now, again, back to what I set off to do, to kind of give you a feel of how to play this. Well, When you start as a Necromancer in the game as opposed to other classes, you actually have straight away Raise Skeleton skill unlocked and your action bar unlocked. On other classes in Diablo 4 you don't have the action bar unlocked. You only have your left click and right click available to you at the beginning. But here you have Raise Skeleton straight away. It is not passive raising of the skeleton, it is active raising of the skeleton. I was also very lucky to straight away, pretty much, well, very quickly get these awesome boots, which are Bloodgetter's Bone Weave Treads, that increase my number of skeletal warriors by 2. So I ran around with 7 of them straight up. 7, my friends. And I will try and edit this video in a way to show you in the background just how easy it is to kill pretty much anything with these warriors without even trying too hard. They are a little bit slow, they are a bit behind you, but as long as you don't try and tank for them, as long as you take a step back and attack the enemies from the distance while you let your skeletons do the dirty work for you, you're gonna be fine, my friend. It's fantastic, in my opinion. Like I said, if you think that playing slightly more passively is a negative, like if you want to be right in the middle of it, if you want to maybe faster paced also gameplay, then then Necromancer might not be as satisfying for you as it might be for us lazy players, for people like me. But I personally treat the game as a game. I think that we shouldn't have to work hard in the game to have fun. That's just my humble opinion. I don't judge if you have a different one. Please share yours in the comments below. But I do enjoy Necromancer a lot. And at the moment I have a hard kind of decision to make if when the game launches I will be actually a marksman rogue, because I'm a big fan of how marksman rogue plays, certainly a lot more active gameplay than this, or if I'll go with my bread and butter choice of pet based, basically summons based class such as a Necromancer. So yes, I hope you do enjoy this video, and I hope it does help you from a non-specialist, non-min-maxer kind of perspective. If it did help you make a decision, or at the very least piqued your interest to give the class a try when you finally can, when the game launches, well, then my job is done, and I very much hope that you enjoyed this. Please give me a like if you did, and subscribe for more, because as soon as we can play more Diablo 4, I will continue playing World of Warcraft, but I will also healthily switch between 2 games, and I'll play Diablo 4 as well. Thanks again, I look forward to the game launch. I heard some feedback that, some, especially experts, find the game a bit too basic, with some too basic of a design, apparently, allegedly, of the dungeons. I hear those experts, and I respect them for what they are, because they spent certainly years and years in this game while I was diversifying and playing other kind of stuff for funsies. So they know what they're talking about. I'm not dismissing that. But I think it's all about enjoyment rather than proving something to anyone. And I do think that Diablo 4 is very enjoyable. And the classes that they offer us, even though not as plentiful as, let's say, World of Warcraft, I think that you can definitely, based on how you prefer to play, you can definitely find a way to scratch your itch, so to speak. Again, thank you very much for tuning in. Hope it helped you, and I'll be speaking with you again about something else, either Diablo or World of Warcraft related, sometime soon. Goodbye for now.